What is up? We're live. Welcome back to another episode of the Buffaloes Breakdown Podcast. With Jake here, I'm Ryland.
Yes, sir.
Gonna talk some CU football because that's what we do.
On occasion.
So, on occasion, we're known to do that from time to time.
Known to do it.
Football and
Sometimes
whatnot.
we need to stop talking CU football, but
yeah, it's been a tough week to talk CU football for like a handful of reasons. But probably the main reason would be that we just lost to Kansas State. Final score 31-28. So, thoughts? How you feeling? How you feeling about that?
Thoughts? Gosh, what a tough game. What a tough game. Not having Travis Hunter just feels terrible. And of course, your brain naturally is going to wander to, well, what would have happened if Travis Hunter had played? And I think you can't really understate the impact that not having Travis Hunter has on this team, because unlike one player a normal player getting hurt, you only have to replace one person on the depth chart. With Travis, you have to replace two, and two separate guys have to be able to step up and play a role. We saw Marion Miller on offense step up, play that role. Defensively, we didn't have anyone to fill that role. So tough game, tough loss. But I'm proud of the way that CU played, and I think there's a lot of things to be happy about. And I saw improvements in areas that I've been complaining about all season. So I feel good about it, even though it was a loss. Like we said last week, house money. We're playing with house money, so nothing hurt. How do you feel?
That one hurt. I will say that one hurt. That was hard to take the lead with like 3 minutes left and then immediately give up like a 50-yard touchdown pass on blown coverage. And by the way, that would have been Travis in coverage on Jace Brown if he didn't get hurt. Pushing McKinney to the outside there did not work so well for the Buffaloes. And if Travis did not get hurt,
Hodge,
that wouldn't have happened. So there's that. But I think this team showed a resilience that we really haven't seen in like probably since 2016 when Cepho got hurt in Michigan. So, this is kind of something new that we're seeing from this team as they really fought. I guess you could make an argument last year against CSU as well, because they did come back to win that game. But, they really had a horrible hand dealt to them. You had, I guess, 5 wide receivers get hurt. You had Travis Hunter get hurt, Jimmy Horn get hurt, Terrell Timmons get hurt, Marion Miller get hurt, and we're just finding out Will Shepherd also got hurt.
Yep.
So that's crazy. The fact that, we had next man up mentality, Marion Miller came in, played phenomenal. Draylon Miller came in, picked up a couple huge first downs to move the chains in pivotal moments.
Yep.
I don't feel discouraged really at all. I think that this, probably more positives than negatives. It sucks to drop a game that's that important, at least to the Big 12 championship race at home in that manner. But, I guess there's nothing we can do about it now. Just got to look forward.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can look forward, and you look around the Big 12 and it's a mess. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
It's a nightmare.
We thought it's a nightmare. We thought Utah would be untouchable. We thought they'd be a top 10 team in the nation. And even Cam Rising has tough days. We thought, I don't think anyone expected Arizona State to be as competitive as they've been. I don't even know that their record accurately reflects how good they've been playing on both sides of the ball. And so the teams you thought might be bad are playing well, and the teams you thought were good are playing bad. So it's all kinds of messed up. And I think as long as we're able to keep things on track, get a big win, I think we can look forward and not feel too upset about being 3-1 in the conference.
Yeah. And I mean, who it really is number one in this conference? Probably, Iowa State, probably.
Unfortunately, Iowa State, I think, and
BYU. BYU is pretty good defensively. That defensive line's pretty good. It's hard to really pinpoint the one team that's going to, walk away with it. And CU realistically could play in Dallas in December. That's not too far of a stretch. Losing to a contender like Kansas State, that sucks because Kansas State now has the tiebreaker against us if we finish with the same conference record, but there's still a path to Dallas. Iowa State plays
They've
plays
already got a
Kansas
loss
State.
as well, so
They do already have a loss, but not to us, which sucks.
that's all right. But a loss is a
Thumbs
loss, and
down.
our schedule is not too terrible.
What did you see out of the Kansas State game, at least on the field, from players that you liked or didn't like? Just more schematically, I guess.
Yeah, schematically, I thought there was a lot of good stuff going on offensively. I don't want to touch the defense. I had some issues with how the game was called defensively. And I think a lot of people might look back on the game and say, oh, the offensive play calling wasn't great due to that last play being a one-on-one ball on a 4th and 5 that was 45 yards down the sideline. I was also upset with that, but I would say more likely than not that was a choice by Shador, not a choice by Pat Shurmur. What I noticed was a bunch of backup receivers running the entire route tree. You've got name a route, you had it, and you had it for big yards. This was a fun scheme that attacked really just about every coverage at the right time. Everyone was open. The passing attack was unbelievable, and Shador played a really great game, minus that one pass. I'm not sure we'll ever know what happened on that one pass. It just sailed. It's just sailed bad. Whether that route should have been extended, whether or not the timing's off, the hand in his face, whatever it was. But take that one throw away, and this was the best passing offense I've seen from the Buffaloes. Schematically, and also just Shador, incredibly accurate, and he was hitting throws on time more so than he has in the past. I thought it was a phenomenal game. We just, for whatever reason, that one errant throw just sailed. That's what I have good to say about the Buffs. Maybe I'll save some of my gripes for later. Let you get some talking pieces in here before I steal them all.
I think you nailed the offense. If you want me to do the defense, so you don't have to be negative, I can do the defense because I have no problem being negative. That's what I do. So,
I certainly could be negative. Maybe you should go, and then I'll add on what I'm thinking.
Okay. So Shiloh Sanders, rip the Band-Aid off. Not a good game. I believe unofficially, this is an unofficial counter. I believe he had 9 missed tackles, 7 total tackles. So that's not good. If you go look up Shiloh Sanders highlight tape on Twitter, you will see a full around 40-second video of him on roller skates the whole game, unable to tackle DJ Giddens. And to Shiloh's credit, DJ Giddens is not an easy human to tackle. He's huge. He's fast. He's really shifty. He can plant his feet and move horizontally really easily. But you got to be able to wrap up and tackle people. Shiloh does this thing where he likes to tackle around the shoulders, and that really came back to bite him in the ass. It's not super advantageous to success, I would say. To Shiloh's credit, yesterday during media availability, he went to the podium and he owned up to it, said that he didn't play like himself, played a horrible game. He knows that he's good at football. He knows what he can do. We saw what he can do last season. We saw kind of what he can do against North Dakota State minus the 2 personal fouls. It's something that we're going to have to see going forward. But if he doesn't fix it up, like that's a definite liability going forward, is having him out there. And there might need to be some conversations about Carter Stoutmeyer going back. But, we'll have to see. Shiloh, he's fresh off an injury. Kind of, I'm willing to cut him some slack. Although that was pretty unexcusable.
I mean, I feel like I'm willing to cut him slack because I have no other option, which is okay. I'll cut him the slack, but and you can't say it's coaching because he's the only one on this defense that plays this way. It's something that he wants to do. He wants to play this style of football where he's the enforcer. He wants to come down at 23 miles an hour and lay the biggest hit possible on somebody, oftentimes with the top of his helmet. And as a football fan, it really hurts to watch. Shiloh's job as the free safety is to be the last line of defense. If that's the passing game, it's often playing cover 3. Doesn't play a robber role as often as other safeties. You often see him dropping into coverage, and then defensively, your job as a free safety is not to come down and lay big tackles. Your job is to stop the guy because you're the last line of defense. If you played football at any point in your life, you know that. As the deepest safety, you have to be the guy who doesn't let anything get past him, the center fielder, so to speak. And I don't know that he understands that. I feel like maybe even more so he wants to play this strong safety role. And we have a strong safety in Cam Silman-Craig. So I don't know what the answer is for Shiloh. And it's going to take a mentality change. He's going to have to realize the importance of wrapping up because he's not going to play in the league like he wants if this is the style of football he decides to play.
Yeah, I agree. On a more positive note, not to keep, ripping on Shiloh, but they were getting to the quarterback, which is not really something that we've seen from this team. We saw it a little bit against UCF, but I forget how many times. I actually have the stats with me here. Let me see. Actually, it doesn't say total team sacks. Does it? I don't know. I'm not going to waste time. I believe they had 3 or 4 total sacks. I know BJ Green had 2. Tajay McCoy had 1. Yeah, they were getting to Avery Johnson. We've seen them do well against the run. That defensive line can kind of clog up the holes and make it difficult to run between the tackles. We saw it against North Dakota State, and we saw it against UCF, but we haven't really seen the group get to the quarterback. They got to the quarterback. Super encouraging thing. Going to need to see that going forward, especially this week against Arizona. And I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah. Anything else that you saw, Jake? And then we can wrap up. We can pretend like Kansas State never happened and move on to more positive things.
Yeah, I guess one thing that we didn't touch on that really upsets me about the defense, and I'll make it quick, is week after week, dude. I want to see us get out of man coverage a little bit more. They do at times, but in the biggest moments, there's just no reason to be in man. So let's talk about that last play for Kansas State, the one that really sealed the deal for them. Travis Hunter's out. Preston Hodge gets moved outside the numbers. Our slot corner gets put at essentially an outside safety role, and he's left press man coverage, one-on-one, on the boundary. I don't understand. I don't really need to go into it more than that. I don't understand. And you don't have to be a football genius to know that never should have happened. Could have had McKinney on him, could have had Hood on him, could have had a lengthier corner on him, just about anybody. Could have been off ball 5 or 10 yards, could have had safety help over the top, could have been at a deep safety himself with contain. There are so many possibilities. Why man press coverage was the call right there, I don't think we'll ever know.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say. On going back and watching the film, to me, it's just about as bad as that Shador play game 1 against North Dakota State where he could have kneeled the ball out and he decides to throw a 50-yard bomb to Wester because he saw cover 0. This is like the opposite of that. And we need to play big-time pass defense, and we just decide to play like the most aggressive style of pass rushing defense of all time in a situation where they have to go the length of the field, and they hadn't gone the length of the field pretty much all half. Understand the flow of the game, I think, and play zone coverage. Like, don't let anyone over the top. That should be a gimme. Worst case scenario, they have to go score a touchdown. Have to.
Yeah, I was going to say they had a 4-point lead at that time. You don't need I mean, you can let them take the field goal there and try to onside kick it, I guess. But you need to at least hold them. You can play a little bit more, I guess, conservatively. You can play further back to try to stop the big play in that situation.
Yeah. And I wish we would have seen it. I don't know.
That's one they'll want back for sure.
It boggles my mind. And we'll say it's almost as if they just pulled a play out of the hat because that's what CU runs all game, every game of the year. Press man coverage. That's what they want to do. They want to play one-on-one across the board. And I think establishing yourself as that kind of team is totally fine. If you want to run that the majority of the time, that's fine. You got to mix in zone. You got to keep people honest, and you can't play that aggressively in that big of a moment. So That's all right. Let's go. Let's move on to next week, and we'll talk about this big game we have coming up in Tucson.
Yeah, play Arizona. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Looks like it's going to cool down a bit. I think temperatures around the mid 80s, which is good because they were hovering around 100 around last week. So that's good for the Buffaloes because it is kind of getting chilly here. Not used to playing in like scorching desert heat. What are you seeing out of Arizona? What scares you? What did the Buffs need to exploit?
I was very worried before we got the injury report back from Dion on, I guess that was yesterday. If we didn't have Travis, I was going to agree with the spread. I would have thought we were underdogs. And I would have said we would have had real problems shutting down McMillan because while McKinney's good, can't leave McKinney on an island all game like you can Travis necessarily. So, I mean, yeah, the main guy is T-Mac. I think we all know that. I don't know what the stats are on him. He's probably close to leading the FBS and receiving yards if he's not. He's fast. He's a good route runner. He's lengthy. He really does it all. He reminds me of maybe even a more polished route runner, but sort of a version of like the maybe Michael Pittman that we saw at USC. Phenomenal ball player. He will do it all. Like I think he's a 10 out of 10 ball player. He's the focus, but I think like most of the Big 12 games, I think it should be a good game. What are you saying?
Yeah, McMillan horrifies me. I'm horrified of McMillan. He is. I just checked. He is third in receiving in FBS right now. So that's crazy. He is 6'5", around 215. He's about the size of a tight end. He has the speed and the hands of a receiver. He has incredible body control. He is probably going to be picked within the top 5 of this draft. Would be my guess. I think that's what he's getting mocked to be. I know PFF had him as like the second best player in the class, like only a couple weeks ago. But yeah, McMillan is that good. And that's a tremendous challenge shutting a guy down like that. Thankfully, we have a good secondary, but we need Travis. We don't want Travis back. We need Travis back. Without Travis back, this is a big problem. You need to have Travis lock him down. If you can have Travis lock him down, Fafita will make mistakes. And he trusts his other receivers, and Montana Lamonius Craig is on that team for longer time Buffs fans, which is crazy for me to say because that was only like 3 years ago. Most people came just last year. Arizona's offense is relatively one-dimensional. They're going to try to feed the ball to McMillan. They're going to try to push the ball down the field. Their run game is it's fine. It's better than ours, but I think everybody's is probably better than ours. But it's nothing really to write home about. Quali Conley, he's a good back, but when Fish left to Washington, he took the running back with him. I forget what his name is. But, this is shutting down McMillan is the single biggest thing that needs to happen this week. Can they do it? What do you think?
I have no idea. I don't think we've seen Travis Hunter with this big of a challenge, especially not coming off of an injury. I think this is a great opportunity for Travis to showcase, like, he obviously believes like he's one of the best corners and one of the best receivers in the country, and I would assume that Travis wants to take both of these skill sets to the next level. If I was him, I would. This is an opportunity to prove that not only can I produce on offense, but I can shut down one of the best receivers in the nation defensively. If he's able to do it, not only does he definitely deserve or earn my Heisman vote, but I think this will solidify him as a top 3 or 5 pick if he's able to play good solid man coverage against McMillan. I think it'll be a great test for him, a great challenge, and it'll be a great way for Buffs fans to see how talented is Travis Hunter. Is he the best cornerback in the nation and one of the best receivers in the nation? Is that possible? And I think this could be a big measuring stick game to kind of gauge him as a two-way player. What do you think?
Yeah, you're spot on with that. This is probably the single biggest test that Travis is going to face this year is defending McMillan. I really hope that they put him on McMillan. Last season against Arizona, they kind of didn't really have him on McMillan. And when he was on McMillan, he played pretty well, but McMillan did have a touchdown. I worry about Travis's health. I worry that potentially they'll maybe only play him on one side of the ball. I would hope it would be at corner. But I mean, you never know. I mean, that's pure speculation. Yeah, Travis on the defense is something that we need more than anything.
I think we'll have to see him on both sides of the ball with those injuries.
This receiving room is deep.
Shepard. Yeah, but the only person that fit. So what I noticed about that Kansas State game is when Travis went out, the play calling didn't change. Miller started running those same routes that Travis did, the quick crossers, the screens, the one-on-one boundary balls. The route tree was the exact same. And to be honest, Miller looked just as good, if not a hair better, in that route tree. He was phenomenal. And I know that's crazy to say. He's that good. He's that lengthy. He's that fast. His hands are reliable. I mean, he is a top-notch guy. The injury is terribly unfortunate, but without Miller, Shepard doesn't quite fill that role the same. He doesn't have the same route tree. Wester is too little to play one-on-one outside the numbers like that consistently on that route tree. His route tree is more like a slot receiver at times. And then Jimmy Horn is the slot guy. I don't like it offensively if Travis Hunter doesn't play because he is the guy on the offense, and a lot of the reads are based off of his role, and his role is still going to be there without him in the game, and there's just no one to fill that role. So I'm terribly concerned about him not playing offense if that's the case. But I do agree he's better on defense. He plays an irreplaceable role on both. He's somehow going to have to play both sides of the ball and play every snap because we saw what happened last week when the corners, and it wasn't all bad, but at times it was, especially in big moments, maybe it's play calling, but we need that role on both sides of the field. Unfortunately, that's my opinion on it. I don't see a replacement for him.
Well, obviously you want the best player in college football on both sides of the ball. But if it is like maybe a shoulder thing, like that's being speculated right now, you'd think that maybe they want to be more careful, at least with him getting tackled and dragged down to the ground. Maybe, I mean, he's still making tackles on defense though. So yeah, obviously I haven't really thought this through too hard, but that was certainly a thought I had. Was like, well, what, like, is maybe they only have him play on one side of the ball with his injury? Yeah. Like, what's going on here?
For me, it's only a thought if Miller's healthy. If Miller was healthy after that 145-yard game and Travis was still nursing a shoulder injury, I would say more likely than not, I'd just play him on defense for sure. That's how good Miller was last week. Without Miller to fill that role, though, no one else is that type of receiver, and I don't see it.
Let's do a little injury update just because
we're on the topic.
We're talking about injuries so much. I got it. I got it. You can plug your ears and pretend like you didn't hear anything, though. So Travis and Jimmy Horn, according to Dion, should play for certain against Arizona. Terrell Timmons will not play against Arizona. Omarion Miller had some sort of injury. It suffered some sort of injury to his left leg. Pretty evidently, it was pretty bad. Got carted off the field in a wheelchair to the sidelines against Kansas State. He has undergone season-ending surgery to repair something in his left leg and will not be available to play for likely the rest of the season. Pretty big blow with Omarion Miller. Not good. We're wishing him the best in speedy recovery. But having Travis and Jimmy Horn back is a pretty big godsend against Arizona, especially. They're going to need to air the ball out against Arizona. Arizona's defense is still pretty clearly trying to figure it out. They don't have it all together yet. First year with Brent Brennan, there's been some definite speed bumps, let's say. Last season, their defense was great. This season, going into the season, they had 2 all-conference players on the defensive side of the ball alone. and Takario Davis at corner and Jacob Manu at linebacker. Despite that, I think they're ranked 90th in points allowed in the country. They're averaging around 29 to 30 points a game to their opponents, and some of their opponents haven't been particularly very good. There's been some really concerning games that Arizona's played, at least points-wise defensively. Gave up a ton of points to Kansas State. They fared way worse than us than Kansas State. It was like final score was like 7 to 20 something or 30 something.
Against Kansas State, 7 to 31.
7, yeah, that's pretty bad. Granted, it was in Manhattan. And for some reason, I mean, that's a non-conference game technically because they agreed to play that as a non-conference and not reschedule it to a conference game when Arizona joined, which is BS in my opinion. But I mean, I like us against Arizona. I do. I think that this offense is going to kind of torch them. They're going to need to prove to me defensively that they're good enough to keep up with us. And I don't know if they have that in them.
I personally don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what people see in Arizona. They
see last year. That's what they see in Arizona. Is they see last year Arizona and this year Arizona.
Yeah.
Because they kept most of this, you know, the most important pieces, let's say. But it's a brand new staff. So, you know, there's going to be some speed bumps, but we're halfway through the football season. I don't understand why Arizona looks this way. It might be a fundamental problem within the program.
Yeah, it could be. I agree. It might be something more so than a team thing because they're just falling short. I mean, there's a lot of talent in the building and they're just falling short of other Big 12 schools. So they're a team that you might not want to play down the stretch, but I don't expect them to have success in the Big 12, I wouldn't say, especially against some of these better opponents, and they already have shown that they haven't. Geez, I mean, BYU 19 to 41, Texas Tech the week before. I think as far as the Big 12 goes, I view a couple teams as A-tier teams and then a couple teams as B-tier teams. And I think Arizona falls into like a C-tier. And I hate to say it, but I don't know. I don't understand the Vegas line. We've got a 3-point spread in favor of Arizona at home. They always say 3 to 5 points for the home team. So you can see that a little bit, but I barring more injuries, I don't really see a situation where CU doesn't win this game, I guess.
I do, because I've watched Colorado football. I never get too optimistic, but there's certainly a way that we don't win this game. Way would be we can't shut down Ted McMillan and we can't run the ball.
Yeah.
Like at all. We need to be able to run the ball. And we didn't see it really last week. Dallin Hayden had some problems picking up some yardage last week. We had no Micah Welch last week, notably. He was dealing with a hamstring thing, which was confirmed by Dion yesterday. And we can expect him back this week. But starting at running back this week will be Isaiah Augustev. What are your thoughts on that move? Because I have some for certain.
I think Isaiah he's got all the physical tools. He reminds me of like a Latavius Murray build. He's got all of the physical tools that you'd want in like a premier back. But he doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but he also doesn't do anything exceptionally bad. He's just an all-around back. He reads holes pretty well. He's got a little bit of speed, a little bit of power, a little bit of footwork to him, but nothing's off the charts. He's just kind of good. He's just good. He's good. He's all right, especially for a Buffs running back. I don't know if I love to see him starting. I definitely don't. But he's had his moments. I think if the space is there, he can produce, but I think it's obviously all very contingent on the O-line. He's not a guy that can make something out of nothing.
I like it personally. We can disagree on something for once. I like the move of him starting. I think that he is probably more physically talented than Dallin Hayden. I don't want to compare him to Michael Welch because they're two like diametrically different backs. Welch is like the smaller kind of bruising guy who can kind of squeeze through holes and make a little something out of nothing. Augustive is just kind of the bulldozer, and that's kind of been the situations where we've seen him in the game on those, I guess we're going to call it like reverse tush pushes where, they hand him the ball at like the 2-yard line and they have Shador push him into the end zone. I think that that'll be effective for what the Buffs intend to do with the run game. They're obviously not going to try to pick up chunk yardage on the ground. It's going to be something that's completely supplementary throughout the entire game. It's going to be like a go out and pick up 3 kind of situation. And that's what Augustive's good for. And I am excited to see him at least get the opportunity to start. Worst comes to worst, we just hand the ball to Hayden and Welch again. Like, just because he's starting doesn't mean, he's going to see most of the touches. We've seen this staff start a running back and just kind of phase him out throughout the entire game. We saw it with like Hankerson and last year and McCaskill and Savion Wilkerson. It's kind of a weird thing. And I would expect that that's going to kind of stay the same this season. Obviously, they're doing a lot of experimenting because we started with Offerdahl and then that didn't work out so well. And then go back to Hayden. Hayden gets hurt, and then they kind of are doing a bit of experimenting with what Welch and Augustave can do because they're 2 new guys to the program and they're both so young. But I kind of just want to see what this team can do against a relatively not so great Big 12 front 7. Your description of Arizona as like a C-tier Big 12 team, I think, is pretty good. In my mind, Arizona is like a B-tier Pac-12 team, and they play Pac-12 football, which doesn't really necessarily translate well to the Big 12 because you need to actually play defense in this conference to win, which they're not doing. Like they're used to the kind of like gunfights and like insane scoring showdowns in the Pac-12. I think that's not going to be how you win games in this conference. You can kind of look at Colorado. Colorado's defense is good, but like every single team in this conference pretty much, except for maybe 3 or 4, has a defense that can really give you at least some headaches. Yeah. So I want to see how they run the ball against Arizona, because I don't think that they are in a super great position to be able to stop it. And if we can't run the ball against Arizona, that's not good.
Yeah. I agree. I think the passing game will be there. I do. I think the passing game will be there. It's just a matter of if we can open up the passing game, make it a little bit easier for Shador. Give those O linemen some help. Because when they don't know a pass is coming, it's a lot easier to pass. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I do think it could be a good game. I've probably got CU in this one by 4, maybe 7 points, but I think it should be a good game. Do we want to do predictions?
We can do predictions. Do we want to do, let's do player and then final score. Who's going to have a big game? Who's having the big game this week?
Not even something I've thought about because the injuries were sort of up in the air up until yesterday or today. Gosh. Without I think I'll have to, and this is such a lame answer. I'm so sorry, everybody. So sorry. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter needs to, he's got the most important role offensively for this team. There's no one that can fill his shoes in that role. Defensively, same deal. No one's going to be able to play on an island. Even if he's not on McMillan the whole game, and even if McKinney gets some reps there, he plays on an island, and we cannot have Preston Hodge outside the numbers consistently. Not in man coverage. Travis Hunter is going to need to have a good game for this team to play the way I think they're going to play.
You can't go wrong with Travis
There's
Hunter.
never been more of an emphasis on Travis Hunter playing well than this week.
Yeah, this game is going to pretty much live or die by Travis. Oh, apologies. Still coughing a little bit.
How dare
God dang. We got to go running back eventually, right? We got to go running back eventually.
Here's the August of pick.
Give me Micah Welch, actually. I like Micah Welch. If he plays, if he doesn't play, I'm assuming Micah Welch is going to play. From what I've heard, sounds like Micah Welch is going to play. If Micah Welch plays, give me Micah Welch. I like Micah Welch against this defense.
Yeah.
If Micah Welch gets some space, I think that he's going to be able to make something out of it. And even if he doesn't get a lot of space, he's big enough to make nothing out of it too. I think Micah Welch is probably the best running back on this team. It's either him or Dallin Hayden. But I think Welch is the most promising. And I think that we're going to see Welch break out at some point this season. And if he's going to do it, Arizona would probably be the team to do it against. Because I guess maybe the other easiest game of the season is against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati actually has a really good defensive line. And they have a pretty decent front seven. It's really underrated team in this conference in Cincinnati. So I think that if we're going to see it, it's going to be this week. So give me Micah Welch.
That's a fun pick. It's much more fun than mine. So thank you for...
Yeah, lame ass picking Travis Hunter. Imagine picking the best player in college football.
Yeah, that was the low hanging fruit. That not only was that the low hanging fruit.
I don't think anybody's picked Travis though. Yeah, I think we've been pretty deliberate about not picking Travis because obviously he's going to have a good game.
Yeah,
but
this week it matters more than ever because of the injuries. This is the first time we've seen the Buffs this injury strown. I don't know what to say. Injury
ridden.
Injury ridden. That's a good one. Ridden with injuries. Yeah, Travis Hunter, his role is already extremely important, and it gets increasingly important with those injuries. So, but and I was gonna say it's not even the low hanging fruit. The reason we hadn't picked it yet is because that fruit had already fell off the tree and rolled around on the ground a little bit. I think that fruit actually fell off the tree and into your basket while you were apple picking. So.
That's kind of how Travis got to Colorado, I feel like.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, so
what a lame predictions.
What a lame pick, but haven't even thought about it. Do you have one?
Ooh, you know what? Give me Colorado 31-21. 10 points is a bit crazy, I feel like. 10 points might be a bit high. Maybe we go 28-21, but yeah, 20. This team doesn't kick field goals. What am I doing? Give me 28-21. I'm going to adjust a little bit.
And you know what's crazy here, bro?
Were you going to say that too?
Yeah. Give me 28. Give me 28-23.
Okay. 23? That's crazy.
We're going to bank on some field goals. Hey, man, that's only 3 field goals.
Yeah, Arizona's kicker is crazy. I watched. It was the game against New Mexico, and he kicked like a 40-yard field goal over the net. Like this dude's gonna be
23 sounds good now.
In Arizona are low. I don't know.
Hey, doesn't this pick sound good now? 23.
Yeah, but that guy rocks.
Yeah. I like 28-23. You're right. We don't kick field goals. Shador's going to live by it, die by it, by that arm. And I don't really see Arizona being able to convert in the red zone more than once or twice. Probably twice. So, yeah, a few field goals. 23 sounds right to me. And these Buffs have been right around 28 a lot of times. 28's like their number. If you want to put a number on the Buffs, they are consistently right around 28. So last week, me pull this up. Where am I getting this from? Last week they had 28. They had 28 against Colorado State, 31 against North Dakota State. So,
And then if you even out Nebraska and UCF, it turns out to something close to 20. Not quite 28, but something close to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're onto something there. If you're an over-under better, that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and if you take away the Baylor overtime, they had 31 in that game in regulation. So 4 of their 6 games, they either had 28 or 31.
So it seems like we're in agreement that Vegas is wrong.
Yeah, and
I was shocked at the line. When Dion said that Travis and Jimmy were going to play and the line didn't move down to 1 point, I was really surprised. I will not lie.
Me too. I'm not sure exactly what. So this is what I wondered with the UCF game. Going into the UCF game, it was pretty obvious that KJ Jefferson had some problems with accuracy, post-snap reads, breaking down zone coverage. That offense was reliant on his legs. I sort of wondered, what does Vegas know that we don't? I'm around this team. I feel like I know a decent bit about Arizona. I don't understand. This is not as blatant. This isn't a 14-point underdog situation, so it's not as blatant, but being 3 or 4 point underdogs to a team who's not played well in Big 12 games, whether they counted for conference or not, I don't see it. I don't see it. I think CU has more to play for. I think they're a more consistent ball club through and through, and a lot of the problems I've had issues with are starting to be fixed. So I think CU's only getting better, other than the injuries. I think schematically they're only getting better. So I don't know. I don't know what it could be exactly. And we beat them last year, so
we did not beat them last year.
Oh, wasn't that? I thought a Mata kick happened.
No, he missed. That was when Mata missed, and then they kicked the last second field goal, and they won.
That's right. No, that
was a heartbreaker. That was not a fun one.
Geez, I do remember that. Well, maybe they're going off that. That's really all I could guess, because I don't know.
It's a different team, though. It's a very different team. I think if we break it down by position group, I think Colorado has the better quarterback, which is wide receiver and quarterback are the 2 strengths of this Arizona team. Colorado has the better quarterback. Shedeur is better than Noah Fifita. Just straight up. Can't even really make an argument for it. Colorado's wide receiver room is better.
Yeah.
Room. Emphasis on the room, because Tet McMillan is better than all 4 of our starting
wide receivers. It's gotten significantly worse, though, I will say.
Still,
with injuries.
We still have all 4 starters projected to play. The only 2 players who sound like they're not going to play are Marion Miller and Terrell Timmons.
Yeah.
So we'll have Travis and Jimmy and LeJontay and Will Shepherd, and then we'll have Draylon Miller, and we'll have maybe Cordell Russell, maybe, and then we'll have to see. But
Mikkel,
I think had surgery. I don't really know what happened to Mikkel, but I don't think we have Mikkel.
Okay, all right, never mind. Maybe it was a lingering thing, and he decided to redshirt if he could. If he didn't already redshirt.
Maybe. I saw something on Twitter that he had surgery today. It was like a photo of him in a hospital gown. So I don't think we have Mikkel. Probably until next year.
Oh, never mind. That would have been fun, though.
Hate to burst your bubble, but that's not going to happen. I don't think.
I'm sad.
Which sucks. I know. That does suck.
Because as a real CU football nerd, Mikkel would have been a lot of fun.
Mikkel rocks.
And they always had him on the depth chart, just like right down there. I always was like, oh, he might see a snap. All right.
The next Travis Hunter. That's unfair pressure to put on him, but that's kind of what happens when you come as a 2A player to the same program that Travis Hunter plays at.
Yeah.
So, oops. I think that, Arizona, better offensive line. Probably everybody has a better offensive line than us. Running backs, Arizona. Our secondary is probably better than Arizona's secondary. And then our linebackers are better than Arizona's linebackers. Maybe. Jacob Manu is really good, but I think that the combination of Bentley and Hill-Green together is really hard to beat. So that's a bit of it. You can make an argument for either team at defensive line and linebacker.
Yeah.
So the advantage in my mind goes right to Colorado. But, you're playing a road game. It's a day game in the desert. Not ideal, but they're not going to get scorched out of this game. I like us a lot. I feel really confident about this game, which is probably not a good thing because every time I feel this way, we lose. So this is how things go.
I feel very confident too. I felt similarly confident in the UCF game as well.
I did not.
Yeah, I know.
Usually when I'm like, we're like, we have no way in hell to win is when we win. And then when I'm like, we could really do this is like when shit like last week happens.
Yeah, no, and you were high on that UCF run game, so I understand that.
UCF is ass. I go out. I'm willing to go out on a limb and call UCF.
They were imposters.
UCF is ass. Around. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's true.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know if anyone's hanging out. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and shoot them at Ryland or I.
Pop them in the chat. We'll answer them.
Yeah, here in the next few minutes. We'll probably be wrapping up in about 5 minutes. So
5 minutes. I got more than 5 minutes in me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It just seemed like the natural wind down of things. All right.
I actually have something that I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
That I told you about earlier. So Travis Hunter went on RG3's podcast today. Sorry, I had to cough again. He went on RG3's podcast today and made a case for himself for the Heisman. Basically, let me pull up the quote quickly. It's on my phone. Oops. Sorry, not to screech everything to a grinding halt here.
I forgot we have a couple bets too. So maybe right.
Oh, we got some bets.
It's more like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Unless Ryland has I
have some crazy ones. I have some good ones this week. So what did he say? He went on RG3's podcast and he is arguing. The argument at this point is between him and Ashton Jeanty, which is the right argument to be had. But he said, I mean, y'all see Ashton Jeanty. It's not like we haven't seen a running back that's good. We haven't seen a player that plays both way, and I'm going to keep saying that. And then he continued on by saying Ashton Jeanty has 95 carries for 1,000 yards. If I had 95 catches, how many yards do you think I'd have? Do we agree with this statement? Is he right? Is he wrong?
I don't know. I feel like he was just up there kind of talking his shit.
He wants his Heisman, and he probably deserves his Heisman. But Ashton Jeanty is a dog, man.
Yeah, I don't think using Ashton Jeanty's it has nothing to do with Ashton Jeanty at all. It has everything to do with Travis Hunter. They pick the Heisman based off of not Travis Hunter versus Ashton Jeanty. They pick the Heisman off of who's the best player, and yeah, right now, I mean, I honestly do see an argument for Ashton Jeanty. He's putting up absolutely historic numbers. 17 touchdowns is what? What? You read that number twice. 17 touchdowns. And Travis Hunter didn't play last game. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if he comes back healthy, does he come back and is he himself? Does he fully produce? Does he have that snap count? Because that's going to matter. If Ashton Jeanty comes out and has 2 or 3 touchdowns again, sorry, Travis, but Ashton Jeanty's on pace to put up 35 touchdowns. This is ridiculous. So, but I do like Travis's point about him playing both ways. I don't know that the Heisman committee is going to fully take that into account and give him the credit that he deserves when it comes to playing both ways. But they need to. They should. That's what makes this such a close debate because, yeah, Ashton Jeanty is putting up the best numbers of any running back all time. Any other year, and the Heisman would easily go to him, and it might still easily go to him. But Travis needs to keep playing well. He needs to keep playing well if he's going to make that case because, like I said, he didn't play last game, and Ashton Jeanty had 200 yards and a touchdown. So.
And that's a bad game for Ashton Jeanty. 200 yards and a touchdown and only 1 touchdown. That's a bad game for Ashton Jeanty.
Yep.
So, okay, looking at this, less than 3 touchdowns in a game is a bad game for Ashton Jeanty at this point.
Yep.
I think. Looking at that from an objective perspective, taking my Colorado fandom bias and throwing it out the window. We haven't seen anybody do, as you said, we haven't really seen anybody do anything like Ashton Jeanty's doing since Barry Sanders. And he has better numbers than Barry Sanders. So that's crazy.
Yep.
You got to give the guy his flowers. He's phenomenal. And the 95 carries for 1,000 yards. What if I had 95 catches? It's like comparing apples and oranges. You can't. 95 carries for 1,000 yards is fucking ridiculous. Pardon my language. If he had 95 catches, he would have a lot more than 1,000 yards, I believe, but that's not possible. So looking at the second part, he's like, you don't see anybody do what I'm doing on both sides of the ball. That's also objectively true, and that needs to be recognized. You can't make an argument that anybody's ever done what Travis is doing. You've seen guys be successful on both sides of the ball, like Champ Bailey, Georgia, Charles Woodson, Michigan. But Champ Bailey and Charles Woodson were not the best player on their teams on both sides of the ball. And he needs to be recognized as that. You're going to end up having to pick between two really, really, really good and enticing Heisman cases, and frankly, extremely unique Heisman cases. And that's going to be a really tough decision for Heisman voters. Thank God I'm not one. But give Travis his Heisman. Come on. We could use a Heisman. It's been a little while since there's been a Heisman in Boulder.
Sure. Yeah, it's been since the 90s, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. That's longer than most teams, I'll tell you that.
Well, most teams don't even have one. We're lucky we even have a Heisman winner. But
no, still, Travis deserves it. I'm sounding more negative than I should be, but Travis is going to have a great case for it, and he should be a finalist. So
yeah, Ashton Jeanty rocks, though.
But
I can't even
rocks, and you can't.
Ashton Jeanty, go watch Boise State play football. That's your homework. If you're listening to this, go Google or go on YouTube and look up Ashton Jeanty highlights and just watch it. And even if you've watched it, go watch it again because it's good and it's entertaining. And this guy rocks.
The guy does rock.
There you go. I guess I have another question for you too.
Sure.
You have even more kind of random, sporadic Buffs news.
Sure.
ESPN just released their mock draft. They have Shedeur at 1, Travis at 2. So 2 Buffaloes going back to back in the draft at 1 and 2. And they have Shedeur first, Travis second. What are we thinking? What do we think about that? You think they got it right? Shedeur first, Travis second, having them both, ranked first and second. Is that nuts?
So the thing about Travis Hunter is you're going to have to find a suitor for Travis Hunter. We'll have to see. There's going to be a narrative about whether or not he wants to play 2 ways or not. And, obviously that's not even a question for Travis right now. He's focused on the season. But by the end of this season, after the first press conference that's had after the bowl game, first time he talks to the media.
Crazy assumption, by the way.
Crazy assumption. Okay.
Hey, man. Do you remember when we were – actually, you don't remember this. Remember when we were 5-0 and we were leading Oregon State by like 25 plus at halftime, and then we blew the lead? And we lost that game, and then we lost 6 straight games after that and didn't make a bowl. Because I do.
I do remember that.
I do remember that.
But I know this
and
is
a different Mike McIntyre
team.
Fired.
Yeah.
So as a CU fan, when you say after the bowl game as an assumption when we've only won 4 games, I can't let that slide. I'm sorry. Because I've seen this before.
I understand
probably see this again.
And so that's what you asked Dion this week. And I actually, if you guys haven't seen the press conference, go listen. Ryland asks Dion this. And I agree with Dion. Dion's point was that this is a different team.
And it is.
And I agree. This is a different team. And so, yeah, I'm going to make the assumption this will be a bowl team. We'll have to see about conference championships. Probably not. We'll see. Who knows? Bowl team, yeah, I think so for sure from what I've seen so far. First time Travis Hunter talks to the media about that, or anytime, once that draft narrative starts, the first thing is going to be, is Travis Hunter playing both ways? Does he demand to play both ways? If a team drafts him and says you're only playing corner, will Travis Hunter play for them? That's going to be a huge deal come this offseason. A lot of people wanted Lamar Jackson to go play running back. They wanted him to go play wide receiver. They wanted him to do anything but play quarterback. And Lamar Jackson said, I'll play quarterback. And it took a team to take a chance on him. With how good Travis Hunter is at both, I expect Travis to demand to play both. Not because he's a diva, not because it's something he's told me. I personally, if it were me, that's what I would do. I think he'll probably fall a little bit given that. I don't see him being picked at number 2. I see him more like top 10. It's going to take the right team with the right fit, with the right coach to get Travis in there and produce at the level Travis needs to produce at. But Shedeur might be the best quarterback in this draft class. It's hard to say. He has some errant throws. We'll have to see about those. But right now, he looks like for sure a top 3 quarterback in the. So I would say Shedeur top 5, Travis top 10.
I think top 10 is a little high. I think you could make an argument for I think that Travis will probably be picked within the top 5 or 6 picks. I think that Travis is just too. Travis is something that you only get once every 20, 30 years. And I think NFL teams will probably jump at the opportunity to take him. But like you said, Travis's case is more, I guess, circumstantial. It's more particular. Travis needs to go to a place that's going to allow him to play both ways. One, and in a team that's not just in a god awful position. Two, he's going to need a quarterback, especially if he plays offensively. And I'm assuming he will. He's going to need to go to a team that's not terrible, essentially. And the thing about the draft is he's probably going to go to a team that's terrible. Ideal situation is that some team trades up and comes and gets him.
Yeah.
But, I don't think there's much point in speculating on the draft in mid-October. I guess we'll have to wait and see how things play out, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, both of those guys should be top 10 picks. I think we can both agree to that.
Yeah. Betting time?
Yeah, let's do bets. And I've got some really lame ones, so I'll go first real quick, and then Ryland will give you some more nerdy picks. I'm going to keep it in the state this time. All 3 of the FBS Colorado teams I am going to bet on, but only 2 bets. So you do the math there. Colorado State plays at Air Force, a little Mountain West matchup going on down in the Springs. Give me Colorado State. No Torrey Horton. I don't care. I'm going to keep betting against Air Force until they show me that they can throw the ball more than 40 yards in a game. Colorado State is bigger, faster. It's damn near a home game, only an hour and a half drive from Fort Collins. I don't see any reason why Colorado State doesn't win this game by double digits. Give me Colorado State to cover, and I feel very, very confident in that pick. Without Torrey Horton, I don't care. The next one, you guys already know it. And, maybe I'll extend it, but I think we're both going to say CU, spread or money line. CU, we think will win this game.
I like money line. I
think let's get our money
line.
Yeah, I do too. Let's get our.
I don't think if they're lose, I don't think they're going to lose by less than 3 points.
I agree. Couldn't happen that way. I don't see it. Last one I've got Kentucky -1 at Florida. Is that the current spread? -2. Kentucky -2 at Florida. I'll stick with it. Kentucky -2. That's a big, fast, physical football team, and Florida has had their ups and downs. Kentucky has been consistently mean. They'll mug you, take your lunch money. I like Kentucky -2 at home or on the road against Florida.
Let's take a close look at Kentucky and their opponent last week. Actually, do you know who Kentucky played last week?
I don't remember.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah.
They lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he lost. or
Yeah,
they
I'm
lost
still,
to Vanderbilt.
I'm still fine. I'm still fine.
Vanderbilt may break teams. Vanderbilt may be the team breaker. We kind of saw him break Alabama. Alabama struggled against South Carolina and Tuscaloosa last week.
Yep.
So did Vanderbilt break Kentucky? We'll have to see. I don't know. Probably not. Florida's fucking horrible. Florida is ass.
I will remind you, yeah, Florida's pretty ass. And what I'll remind you guys is Kentucky played within 3 points of Georgia. I think even within 2 points of Georgia. They beat Ole Miss. And then off of Vandy's win against Alabama, they played Vandy within 3 points, 7 points. So they're at the least, this game is going to be excruciatingly close.
I think Vandy's on bye this week, but if they weren't, I'd tell you to bet on Vandy.
Yeah, Vandy's hot.
I have 4 this week, and I have extra. I have one that I've been keeping secret from Jake for the podcast because I think it's extra special. Because I think
if the spread changes, I'm beating you up.
What if I told you it's not a spread?
Money line.
It's a money line. I'll give you that hit. It's a money line. So first bet that I have is UNLV to cover the spread against Oregon State. We did this Oregon State thing last week where we said, Oregon State, they should cover the spread against Nevada. No, Nevada killed them like bad. Like put 44 points on them at least. I think when I checked in on the score, Nevada had scored 44 points. It might have been more than 44, but Oregon State's bad. Sorry, Oregon State's bad. And UNLV is good. They have 2 players with 4 interceptions right now. Did you know that? UNLV can...
No, that's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't that?
That's nuts.
Yeah. So I like the spread is 7 points. I like UNLV to cover the spread against Oregon State. So there you go. I think that's pretty safe.
Yeah. Like that.
Second bet. This is one that I'm not so confident about, but this is one that is going to be fun, and it's probably the second biggest game of the week, behind Texas, Georgia, which I don't want to touch with like a 1 million yard pole for numerous reasons. I like Tennessee money line against Alabama. Alabama needs to show me that they are Alabama.
Yeah.
Kind of, they've had, I guess, a little bit of trouble defending some of the chunk plays, and that's what Tennessee will do. Is with Nico and that receiving cores, they will air the ball out and pick up chunks of yardage. I think Tennessee has one of their defensive captains out. So that's concerning. If there's one pick that I feel the least confident about, it would be this game. But in my heart of hearts, I think Tennessee is a good football team. They're way better than they've shown us the last 2 weeks, and they should beat Alabama because Alabama looks mortal. And their opponent last week, South Carolina, give me South Carolina money line against Oklahoma. This is not the secret one. The secret one is the next one.
No, I might know what the secret one is too. I want to take a guess before you get there. But yeah, go ahead and explain this South Carolina pick because I like this one. I do. South Carolina's been real good.
South Carolina is sneaky pretty good. Lenora Sellers is pretty good. Yeah. They have Nick Harbor at receiver. Nick Harbor is great. Defensively, they're big enough to at least stop whatever's coming at them to a acceptable degree. In Oklahoma is ass, especially now. I think last week their top 6 wide receivers hurt. I think 3 of them are still hurt. They don't know what the quarterback situation is. They don't know if they're going with Jackson Arnold or the other guy. I forget what his name is. Sorry, I'm not really paying the closest attention to Oklahoma football. But Oklahoma is just a mess, and they're not good. They just got shithoused by Texas in the Red River game. I don't like Oklahoma in this game, at all. I think South Carolina will probably dog walk them. I like the spread is only 1.5 points too, so it's not even worth betting on the spread in this game. At least South Carolina to cover. Just go full money line. Okay, secret bet. What do you think it is? Because I don't think you're gonna get.
Oh, well, if you don't think I'm going to get it, then I'm probably wrong. Arizona State is 5-point underdogs at Cincinnati.
Give me Cincinnati money line.
Cincinnati money line, they're favored
Give me
5.
Cincinnati money line.
What kind of pick is
Give
that?
me-
Arizona State's been dismantling everybody.
Give me Cincinnati money line.
All right.
This is
all
free
right.
money.
Tell me.
Do you remember
it's not
Jeff
much
Sims?
money, but yes.
It is not much money, but give me Cincinnati money line. Do you remember Jeff Sims?
Yeah.
Guess who's starting at quarterback for Arizona State?
This is his son.
Jeff Sims.
Jeff Sims is starting it. Okay.
Yes. Do you remember Nebraska quarterback, Nebraska legend, Jeff Sims?
Yeah.
He gave the ball to us like 5 times last year. He can't take care of the football. That's all he did last year is turn the ball over.
Thinking of a different Sims. Yes, I do know this guy.
Yeah, he's starting at quarterback for Arizona State. So it's going to be like 4 turnovers, not a ton of money to be made here, but I feel really confidently about this. And Cincinnati is probably the most underrated team in the conference right now. If I had to at least give that label to one team, Dante Corleone rocks. Their defensive line is really good. They've been playing decent pass coverage. Brendan Sorsby, their quarterback, he's a transfer his first year. He's been playing really well. I think that this is going to be a Cincinnati statement game. Right. So give me Cincinnati.
All right. Crazy, man.
I know. I was really hyping that up.
I guess the wrong team. I thought you were going to go Arizona State with that.
Yeah. Got to keep you on your toes. You never know what's going to happen.
I guess so. Arizona State's defense has been pretty good. They made Cam Rising look like a bot.
I feel like it's been not that hard to make Cam Rising look like a bot in the last 2 months.
It's been increasingly easy.
So he couldn't hold on to the football. I don't know if you watched that game, but it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Not good. Eighth year senior Cam Rising. Time to get some khakis and buy a car dealership, buddy. Sorry. Cam Rising's fun. He's a good player, but 8 years in college is crazy. Even at Big 12 Media Day, he's like 7 years is enough. Evidently not. So we'll see. Next year.
Nuts, dude.
Utah. Kyle Whittingham, we'll probably have him back. I would guess Kyle Whittingham would probably be happy to have him back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
all right, well, those have been the Ralphie Report picks.
We want to do. Oh, what's up?
All right, didn't get any questions in the chat this week.
No, we did not. That's okay.
That's all right.
Okay. We'll work on that. Do we want to do podcast business? Do we want to plug things and articles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's like, all right, go ahead.
Go.
Tomorrow morning, the preview for the CU Arizona game should be up. That'll be written by me. Go give that a look. I think it'll be a good one. My breakdown from the CU Kansas State game is up. That went up Monday. I think that one was pretty solid as well. A little bit of information on film and schemes in that going. If you're looking for some football content, go check it out. And Ryland's always writing. What do you have coming up?
Yesterday I had an article kind of talking about what Dion said about Arizona and what he sees in Arizona and how CU can win.
It's a good one.
Jake will have a more in-depth kind of. Dion isn't obviously going to give away what he really sees in the press conference. He's just going to praise players. But he did have a couple interesting remarks about the defense. So go check that out, ralphiereport.com. Tomorrow I'll have another article coming out kind of talking about the outlook of the season and how different things have been between last year and this year, despite having the same record at the same point in the season. If I have enough time, I'll probably do like a Big 12 power rankings or look around the Big 12, but we'll have to see, just depending on how much time I have. And then obviously game day, we'll have a bunch of content. We'll be tweeting a ton as per usual on the Twitter at Ralphie Report. Ton of articles as well, probably. ralphiereport.com again. And yeah, I think that's it from us. Go Buffs, beat Arizona. I think we're gonna do this every Wednesday from now on. Is the plan? I'll have to talk to Jake about it afterwards. But come
Wednesday
back.
would work for me.
Wednesday, perfect. Yeah, Wednesday 7 p.m. from now on. So we'll have a set time, set day, so you guys know what's going on. And
and if you guys are watching this, beat the Wildcats. If you guys are watching this, you have any questions for us for next week, go ahead and throw those in the comments. We'll answer them next week. But yes, go Buffs. Let's catch a win in Tucson this week, and let's keep building that Heisman case for Travis.
Let's do it. Thanks, guys.